Hello? Did I say it correctly? Hello? Hello. Hi. Oh. Okay. Is it time to start? It's time to start. It's 5:30 where I live in the morning. My family is still sleeping. Well, this is the class right after lunch. Speaking of sleeping. I know. Did you have a good lunch? Are you enjoying this conference? Isn't it wonderful? Oh, me too. Let's do this every month. My name is Jeff Rasmussen, and my ancestors come from Denmark, and Sweden, and England. You don't ask me that right now. I'd have to look. Well, I've been asked to speak on this topic here. I'm very happy to be here. This is my ethnicity, though. Nearly 45% Scandinavian, 33% North and Western European, 13% English. I've got some Irish, Scottish, and Welsh in me, and 1.1% exactly of Middle Eastern. Now, in my personal research, it's a little bit different. About 40% from England, 25% I still haven't found outside of United States. And so this shows me that I still have some research to do to make it match up with this a little bit more. I started researching my family tree back in college. I signed up for classes too late, and the only class that was left was family history, was genealogy. I was forced into researching my roots, but I love it. I love it so much that this is a picture of where I met my wife, which is inside a family history center at university. And this is the day that I proposed to so I met my wife at the family history center, and I proposed to her in the family history center. And in the picture, do you see in the background, there's a microfilm reader? Oh, how I love that picture. I proposed to her on April 1st, which is April 1st kind of okay, okay, good. Well, she said yes, and it worked out. No guns. So technology, I love it, and I love genealogy, but I started young, and I think what's in that picture is what's called an 8-track player. I've never, do any of you know what that is? 8-track? Okay. Well, my very first computer was in grade 4. I had the very first laptop in all of high school, and that was a really cool thing to have a laptop. When I went to university, on my belt, I walked around like this. And people thought that was really weird because people didn't have cell phones, but I like being the first at things. I began one of genealogy's first blogs, in fact. I'm always the first to install the latest software. I'm one of the developers of this software, Legacy Family Tree software, and I hosted the very first genealogy webinar ever, and that occurred in September of 2010. Do you know what a webinar is? Do any of you not know what raise it? No, don't raise it. Some of you may not know what a webinar is. It's a class just like this, but it's online. It's a seminar on the web. So I'm involved in hosting webinars also. And in fact, since 2010, I've been the host of 788 webinars now. And sometimes I'm the speaker, but most of the time I get the best speakers in the world to come to your computer. And so far we have 181 of those speakers. And we talk about all kinds of things like DNA and Google and MyHeritage. We learn how to organize our genealogy, what to do with photos and digital images. I mean, I love all this stuff. We learn about records, software, technology, writing and publishing. And in fact, a few years ago, the FamilyTreeWebinars.com was voted and received the #1 award for best online genealogy education. And so that's fun. But it was a webinar just a couple of years ago that I hosted where Mike Mansfield was the speaker. He was the presenter. And it was called 7 Unique Technologies for Genealogy Discoveries. And it was in this webinar where I really started to have my eyes open to how wonderful MyHeritage is. The technology behind MyHeritage really is amazing. And in that webinar, he taught about smart matching. You've learned about all of these here this weekend. Smart matching and record matches, newspapers, record detective, instant discoveries, search connect, and global name transition. And I was very impressed with what I learned from Mike that day about MyHeritage. And very shortly after that, MyHeritage came out with a new technology called book matching, where MyHeritage compares your tree and searches for your ancestors in thousands and thousands of books. And that was very exciting to me how MyHeritage did that. And very shortly after that, MyHeritage came out with Pedigree Map. And we did a webinar about that, so we can learn about that. And then I started to learn more about MyHeritage's founder, Gilad. And he has vision. And it's fun that he also loves family history. He's not just a businessman, right? He loves family history, and so I connect with that. And so I've only been with my history with MyHeritage is young, but I love the vision. I believe in the future of what MyHeritage is doing. And so today I'll talk about my 6 favorite things about MyHeritage, and maybe you get an idea or two. And so I've been asked to speak both about MyHeritage and about the webinars, and we'll see if we have time. I've got a fun story that I want to share with you. So, number 1 is, you know about pedigree maps. I think you've seen mapping in some of the classes here. There's a couple of little tiny buttons in Pedigree Map that if you know where they are, they do some really neat things. So I really like what's called the heat map, and I really like to see time travel. Now, time travel is not one of the buttons, but I'll show you how you can do time travel with Pedigree Map. So first of all, at MyHeritage, you hover over the menu called Family Tree, and you click on Pedigree Map. And your map comes up like this. You've probably all seen it, and it shows these little round circles telling you where all of your ancestors live. And you can view it in satellite mode also, and that's fun. Now, I've zoomed in on Denmark. This is where many of my ancestors come from. And over on the left is all of the countries where my ancestors come from. Now, it's very small, but at the very top, it says there's 515 different places. And there's 2,094 references to those places. So if I click on Denmark, it shows me all of the places in Denmark where my ancestor lived. Now, it's on the left-hand side. You see where that arrow's pointing? Any of you here from Denmark? Okay. So I think I say it like this, Nilose. Does that sound right? Nilose. Well, anyways, when I click on that, it shows me on the right-hand side all of the people that were ever born there, died there, married there, did anything in Nilose. And I can click on one of those people in the list, and it will... Every time I see this picture, which is my great-great-great-grandfather, I think my uncle is his twin. They look exactly alike. It's amazing how that works, isn't it? Well, so we can see that. Down in the lower left-hand corner is the satellite link, and that's fun to look at. And I got to visit the village of Nilose a few years ago. Well, in the very far right-hand corner, this is where it gets fun. On all of these maps, we've looked at a button called, there's a button called Heat Map. And what Heat Map does is it shows the distribution of where your ancestors are living. So you can see in red, that means more people living there. Light green and yellow, less people living there. But this is showing my personal extended family. And if you change it to satellite mode, it becomes more striking. Now in the top, I'll zoom in first here, and I can see throughout Denmark. It's easier for me to see the visual, the colors. Now in the top left, you can, instead of your name, you can click on your name and you can change it to any person in your tree. And when you change it to, so this is my third great grandfather here. When I change it to him, now it will show me a map of, either his extended family or I've chosen descendants. So now what the map will display is great, great, great grandfather and all of his descendants and where they live. And this is what it looks like. So, in 1870, I think it was, they came to America. Now, very small button, and it's hard to know it's even there, but in the top right is a little filter button. And if you click on it, it looks like this. And this shows me the time span beginning with my great-great-great-grandfather and going all the way to the present day. So he was born in the year 1820, and there's some event in my family that happened in the year 2018. And what this will now show me is only those events that happened in that time period. So what I've done with the time slider is I've changed it to only show the year 1820. So with him and all of his descendants, this is what happened in the world in the year 1820. Now I can, for my family. Now using that time slider, I can, there's two little bars on there. And I'll drag one of the bars to the right, which means now it will show me 1820 to 1860. Did you see what happened? The big change? Let me go back. There's 1820. There's 1860. Not much, but something's starting to happen. And if I move the time slider over just a little bit more, here's 1820 to 1900. Did you see that migration that just happened? So here's 1860. Here's 1900. Here's 1950. Do you see how it's growing? The family is now moving west. And here's today. So that's the heat map, also using the time slider. So that's your time travel. Is that new to anyone in here? Is that right? Well, I'm glad you came to class today because I love that. Okay, it makes it easy for me to show my kids where their ancestors came from, when they came, how they got here. Okay. You can learn more about Pedigree Map in an entire class up at FamilyTreeWebinars.com. Just go to that site, type in Pedigree Map, and then it will find it for you. Tip number 2, you all know about record matching, where MyHeritage finds records for you, and it's very nice. However, I have a couple of favorite tips when using this. So on my homepage of MyHeritage, when I look at the top left, it says I have more than 999 records to go and look at. Have any of you seen that in your tree? Yeah. And if I hover over that with my cursor, it tells me I've got more than 13,000 records that I should go and look at. So if I wonder what am I going to do when I wake up tomorrow, I always have something to do. Well, let's click on that. And again, 13,216 matches. Now there's a button that will make this easier for you to manage. It's very small, but here it is in the upper right. When you click on it, you get a screen that's called Discovery Settings. And you can change the slider between the numbers 0 and 5. 0 means low confidence record matches. And it says, if it's set to 0, your results are more likely to include inaccuracies, but may also reveal interesting information. If I move that over to number 3, that's kind of in the middle. And when I click Apply, you can see now that I have 3,929 matches, which I like a lot more than 13,000. Now, one of my favorite record collections at MyHeritage is Billion Graves. Have any of you found anything in Billion Graves yet? Okay, about a third of you. So it says I have 219 matches in Billion Graves. And the first match in my list is this person named Dwayne James Hunter. I have no idea who he is. But he's in my tree, so I must be related to him somehow. Well, instead of looking at 219 matches, and I'm not sure how they're related to me, I'm going to click on the Sort By menu, which lets me sort my list by either value, first name, last name, or relation. And I like relation a lot. So let's click relation. And now the very first people in the results list are those who are most closely related to me. So in this case now, and it even shows me the relationship. So Ivan Rasmussen is my great-grandfather. And as I scroll down this list, I would next see another one of my great-grandfathers. And so it makes it easier for me to understand how these people are connected to me. So that's the Sort By tip. If that's new to you, then I hope that you'll use it and go and have fun with that. We have an entire webinar or an online class at FamilyTreeWebinars on using smart matches and record matches. So if you if you can't remember everything that you've learned here at this conference, well, you can go back home and watch many of the topics again. Number 3, and you've learned about DNA a lot, and DNA is a really good and really fun thing. It's more new to me, and I'm trying to remember everything. But a couple of things that I love One is the Chromosome Browser, and I'm going to show you how I used it once and how it worked really well. My second thing I love is that weekly email. Do any of you get emails? I think it's on Sunday nights, and that email comes, and it says you have new DNA matches, and I look forward to that email every week. I hope it comes every week. Well, that's my favorite email of the week. So we have one of our problems, or one of my problems with my DNA matches is, well, how do they relate to me? And yesterday, Gilad taught us that there's some really exciting things coming with that. In the meantime, I wonder, when I get a DNA match, well, what side of my tree is that match on? Is that on my dad's side, on my mom's side? So this is one of the matches that I received back in February of this year, and I was stunned when I got this match. The name of the person is Russell Wilding, and I thought that I knew a Russell Wilding, and in fact, I went into the MyHeritage office in Utah, and Russell Wilding works for MyHeritage in Utah. I believe he is the chief content, something like that. I can't remember his officer, chief content officer. And so MyHeritage suggests that he might be my third or fourth cousin. That was exciting. So let's click on it. And as I scroll down, I'm looking at my shared DNA matches that I have with me and Russ. And it looks like my father also shares DNA with Russ. So so that tells me he's probably on my dad's side, right? Well, is it on my dad's side or my dad's mom's side? That's where the Chromosome Browser really, really helped. So Chromosome Browser is found under the DNA menu, and I'll click Chromosome Browser. And at MyHeritage should receive award after award for how this is designed. They've done this very well. Well, what I'm going to do is I searched for Russell Wilding, and I'll click on the plus sign. And so now I've added Russell. And I will click on the compare button. And this is what is fun. Right here it says, you and all of the selected DNA matches share 4 triangulated segments. So that's good. And that means, well, Russ and I are related. Okay. Well, I don't yet know on what side of my tree. How is he related to me? So let's add my father to the Chromosome Browser. And click compare. Russell and my father and I share 4 triangulated segments. That proves to me, well, he is on my dad's side. So here, let's go and add my dad's dad to the Chromosome Browser. We share no triangulated segments. So me and Russ and my dad and my dad's dad, we don't share anything. Which means, if this is me and this is my dad, and that's my dad's dad, well, Russ does not match me on that part of my tree. I'll bet he matches me on my dad's mom's part of the tree. So, going back to the Chromosome Browser, I've added one more person who I already know this, that she is on my dad's mom's part of the tree. So, what I'm hoping is when I click compare, it will say, all 4 of us, we do share DNA. Let's do that. Oh, that's what this says. My PowerPoint is very good. So I already know she's on my dad's mom's side. Yep, this is what I just said. Good. And if we look here, you and all of the selected DNA matches share 3 triangulated segments. And so the Chromosome Browser, it helped my slow mind understand DNA. So this means that here's me, here's my dad. I know Russ isn't related to me through Grandpa, but I do know now that he's related to me through Grandma. So Chromosome Browser, if I could just clap all day long, I would, because that's how good it is. If you want to learn more about DNA, you can go to FamilyTreeWebinars.com, and up there there's 55 different classes for you to watch at home about DNA and genealogy. FamilyTreeWebinars.com. Now I want to move a little bit beyond MyHeritage.com, and with number 4 and number 5 tips, I want to talk to you about my favorite tips of these 2 offline software. So these FamilyTree Builder and Legacy Family Tree are 2 programs for your computer that MyHeritage also is the owner of. So FamilyTree Builder, and you've probably all seen this. So here's my same Rasmussen family in FamilyTree Builder. I want to get to this. What I love about FamilyTree Builder is I can add anything into my tree on my computer at home, and with the sync button, it automatically pushes it up to my tree on MyHeritage. Or if I'm away from home, like I'm in Norway, I can add new things to my tree at MyHeritage, and when I go back home on FamilyTree Builder, it has synced. So I have the same information in both places. Now there's advantages to having software for your computer, such as additional charts, additional reports, more books that you can do in software on your computer that is not available online at MyHeritage. For example, the charts. I love seeing my tree like this. This is called the all-in-one chart, where I'm way down. Can you see me? I'm right there in the corner. And the rest of the chart is my ancestors and their children and grandchildren, and it just goes like this. And I could see everything. But you see the little blue lines? If I printed this, it might print out 500 pages on my printer. So not so fun. I'll show you how to get around that. If you zoom in, you can see this is what it looks like close up. So it looks really nice. And there's some different ways that you can customize the charts. But under print, this is where you can either print it to your home printer and then get a whole bunch of tape. Or you can print a poster, and that will order a chart on a big roll of paper that you can then hang from right here to way back there. So you can download FamilyTree Builder for free, and all you have to do is sign into it. And if you already have a tree at MyHeritage, it'll go and download it, and everything is up to date for you. So it's nice software. Tip number 5 is software similar to FamilyTree Builder. This is software just for the PC. It does work on Mac if you know how to run PC programs on your Mac. This is the same person, Christian Rasmussen. I named my 3rd son after Christian. After I filled out the birth certificate, about 2 months later, I realized I misspelled my son's name. Still, it's in honor of this ancestor. Just three charts I want to show you that I really like in Legacy Family Tree. This one is called the cause of death chart. So starting with, I didn't want to start with me because that was a little weird. Here's Kenneth Brown. It tells me he died at the age of 66. I don't yet know his cause of death, and so it doesn't show. But for some of these ancestors, it does show. David Brown died at 80. Cause of death was natural causes. Okay. John Williams died of pneumonia. Sarah Smart died of old age, paralysis. My favorite, Reuben Crosby, was gored by a bull. I have two ancestors who were gored by a bull, not related to each other. So the cause of death charts are nice, so you can see some medical history. You can see what people in your ancestors, did they have cancer, or is there a pattern of heart disease? So cause of death charts. The next report in Legacy that I really like are the interview reports. Sometimes we need to talk to our living relatives. I prefer to talk to my dead ancestors. I don't like talking to living people very much. But when I have to, I use the interview reports. In Legacy, there's 1,200 different questions that are all ready for you. So if you don't know the right kinds of questions to ask, just click on the interview report in Legacy, and it will give you many categories. So, and you'll notice none of the questions will promote a yes or no answer. So they're all written very, very well. So tell me about my mother's name, why her parents chose it, if she was named after anyone, any nicknames. So ideas that maybe you've thought of, but maybe they're ideas that you haven't considered yet. I also like the migration chart in Legacy. And so here's Christian Rasmussen. And if we look, so we often look at our ancestors to learn where do we come from. But in this case, the migration report will tell me where did his descendants go. So in this case, it looks like a lot of them went to Utah, went to Idaho in the United States, followed by Oregon, followed by Denmark. So if you're writing a book, you're wanting to publish a book about your family, this could be a nice picture to include at the beginning of a chapter in the book. Okay, so you can download Legacy for free at legacyfamilytree.com. Now, number 6, learningwithfamilytreewebinars.com. Like I mentioned earlier, as of today, there's now 788 classes in the library. I've scheduled for next year, there's more than 170 classes coming to your computer that you can watch. I'll tell you how she's really happy to learn from her bed, you can tell. Kinds of classes that are up there are classes on organization. So tips and tricks to organizing your genealogy is one of the classes. Or Lisa Louise Cook, who is one of the speakers here, she has a class there about organizing your online life. Let's see, organizing and sharing your digital images. If you have ancestors from Germany, there's 18 classes up there right now on that. Most recently, Untangle the Web of German Websites, or Find Your Roots in German Farm Histories. These are all full 1-hour classes, plus question and answer sessions. There's, again, 55 classes on DNA. Here's one on challenges with Irish genetic genealogy by Morris Gleason. The Y-DNA test should be your favorite. The first 5 things to do with your new test results. So all classes that you want to go and learn from. Now, in the live webinars, we often do polls of the audience. And one time I asked the audience, do you have German ancestors? 94% of those that were at the class said they raised their hand. They raised their virtual hand and said, yes, I have German ancestors. 4% said they didn't know. Well, that day our topic was on German farm histories. And so I asked, have you searched German farm histories? 2% of the audience had done that. From that webinar, this is what people said. It was a whole new world for me to explore. Another person said, I didn't know these types of records were available. Another person said, I had never heard that farm histories may be available for German. So sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And that's where the webinars come in. So there's 2 ways to watch. You can watch them live, or you can watch the recording. So to watch them live, again, you go to FamilyTreeWebinars.com. To watch them live, you just go there, you click on the register button if it's a class that looks like you want to watch. After you click register, you type in your email address, and then you're sent an email on the day of the webinar that says, click here to watch. And then but you have to be one of the first 1,000 people to join. And so just show up about 10 minutes early. Just click on that link in your email about 10 minutes early. You could also, if you just want to sign up for all 170 webinars with just one click, you can do that also. And so you'll just put a click right here, and then it puts a check mark on all the rest of the classes. And you've put in your name and your email address, and that's all that you have to do. So this is a picture of my 12-year-old son. I made him watch one of my webinars, but I'm showing you that you can watch it on your television. If you have an internet connection on your television, you can watch it on your computer. You can watch it on your phone. Isn't that weird? You use a phone to watch. It's changed our lives, hasn't it? So you can watch it live. During the live sessions, you can type in your questions. And after every single webinar, we always have a question and answer session. We also always have door prizes. And so I love giving away MyHeritage DNA kits, but you can't win them if you don't come. So you have to come. Every Wednesday is called Webinar Wednesday. Have any of you been to Webinar Wednesday before? Just a couple of you here. They're always free to join. And on Webinar Wednesday, the classes are about a variety of topics from a variety of speakers. Every third Tuesday is a webinar by the Board for Certification of Genealogists. So if you want to understand standards and how to do really fine research, those are held every Tuesday. Well, the third Tuesday of each month. The MyHeritage webinar series, that's usually every other Tuesday. So you'll learn from Mike Mansfield there. You'll learn from Daniel Horowitz. We've even learned from Gilad on the Tuesday MyHeritage webinars. So if you need to ask questions, or you need to learn a little bit more about using MyHeritage, just sign up for them. And if it works out for you, you can come and watch it live on your computer. If it doesn't work out, you can always watch the recording later on. So the presenters that are there are the leaders in genealogy. And you can look at all of the speakers on the site. You'll notice that many of the speakers here are also on FamilyTree Webinars. So watch them live. They're free. Watch them on your computer, phone, tablet, or TV. Or usually about an hour after the live webinar is over, the recordings are put online. And the recordings are always free for the first week. So you can watch them as many times as you want to. Watch them over the weekend, watch them at night, watch them in the morning. Or you can watch them anytime if you have an annual or a monthly webinar membership. So when you go to the site, you can view all of the webinars that are there by date, by category, by presenter, or there's about 150 of them that are always free, and they're very good. You could scroll down, you can look at them by topic, DNA, or family search, or even using Google, software, technology. Or you can browse. So you could just look at them by category. And underneath software, you can learn about Microsoft Word, or PowerPoint, or Facebook, Excel, Dropbox, AnyMap, all kinds of topics, and that's just under software. If I go to methodology, you can learn about handwriting, history, law, copyright, or finding females. Finding males, well, finding females sounds a lot more interesting to me. Not to you? Okay. Military records, death records, church records, cemetery records. This is not just for the United States. This is for countries all throughout the world. Every Friday, we release bonus webinars for subscribers. So you get to have the free webinars during the week, but every week we also add bonus webinars. Here's one on using railroad records. Another one by Diane Southard on Let DNA Tell Your Story. If you sign in, if you are a subscriber, there's some additional functions on the website. One of them is if you don't have time to watch the webinar today, you can just add it to your playlist. And that's what I'm showing you in this slide. And then on my personal playlist, I've got 63 of them that I've marked that I want to go back and watch, or I can watch them as often as I need to with a membership. Also, when you're looking at the recording, if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll notice that you can see all of the topics that are inside the class. So this class is called Sweden's Multiple Naming Systems and How They Changed in the 1800s. Very important class if you have any Swedish ancestors. But here I can also see, I can learn about the formation of patronyms. I can learn about unofficial names. And I don't remember what this one is, but the Dalarna system of names, okay, noble names. And so you can jump around to different topics within the webinar if you just want to learn about the Dalarna system. Okay, so others are saying things like this. Many of us have limited opportunities to attend conferences in person like we're doing now, but the webinars are always available 24/7, well worth the subscription. I like this one from Norm. Your webinars are the best instructional materials available to genealogists. I subscribe to every search provider, but count Legacy and my webinar membership as the keys to successful genealogy. What the webinars is it's your continuing education. Things are always changing in the world of genealogy, and my goal is to always bring to you the latest happenings in genealogy. So again, free for live webinars, free for the first week. Here's the membership prices. And with that, you get access to everything that's up there. So all 788 classes up there now. Also, you get the syllabus materials. So for each class, they usually have a 4-page syllabus with clickable links, all of the notes that the speaker has written for you. That's included with the webinar membership. And you can go up to FamilyTreeWebinars.com. But through this week, if you use this code, and we don't share this this is just for you, MHLive18, and that will bring you half off of the membership. So for half off would be what, about $25 US, and with $25 you get almost 800 classes that you can. So it's not bad. It's a pretty good price.